What's good people, and welcome back to the channel here on Boy Productions. My name is BK, and this is the Silly Nerdy and Wordy Podcast, episode number 79, Streaming TV Shows Update Part 2. And in this episode, I'll be providing some updates on the streaming TV shows from Netflix, HBO Max, Prime Video, and more, as I did part 1 on network TV. So check that episode out if you missed episode number 78. What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone is doing very well. I am glad to be back doing another episode. To all the subscribers, thank you for being here, and all the listeners, thank you as well. Much appreciated. And if you're new here, welcome as I do spoiler reviews, looking at live theater shows as I see them. I go into the on and off stage, on and off screen choices that are made, as well as the roles behind those people that make the great projects come to life. So subscribe for more. Let's get into this. And so what I'm going to be doing first is talking about Law and Order Organized Crime. That is on Peacock. It made its way to Peacock from NBC last season for its most recent season. So at this point in time, the Law and Order Organized Crime show from Dick Wolf it has not been renewed yet. It has not been canceled yet. It is on the bubble. No decision has been made at this time. I have not seen anything new, so they're still awaiting to see what they're going to do with that show. All the other Dick Wolf shows have been renewed. They're going into their new seasons coming up later this year in September and in October. That's just a quick update on Peacock. So now let's get on to Prime Video from Amazon. And the show there I'm going to be talking about is Rings of Power Season 3 within the Lord of the Rings franchise, the Lord of the Rings world. They are now going to be going into Season 3. There was a video going on social media, particularly from the official Rings of Power Twitter account, a little production teaser video where we have somebody most likely at the Weta workshop working on the Sauron crown, and then he leaves that studio, goes on to the lot, then goes into looks to be a closed sound stage. He hands it off to someone else, and then that person sets it down on the set within the stage, and then he walks away. The camera pans back, and it says Rings of Power Season 3 now in production, meaning that they are filming the new Season 3 so that it will be available to watch later on, most likely sometime next year. And so that's going into Season 3. I know there's a lot of people that hate the show, a lot of people that love the show. I'm one that likes the show. I've watched all the Lord of the Rings content. I have all 6 movies, and I've seen both seasons, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the show continues. They wanted to do this for 5 seasons when they initially announced, so they're still continuing on with that plan. Now, in Rings of Power, in terms of the story within the world of Lord of the Rings, it is the first thing because that's the creation of the rings. That story comes first, and then hundreds of years later, that's in the Second Age, then comes the Hobbit films. That's in the Third Age. And then hundreds of years later, towards the end of the Third Age, into the Fourth Age is the original Lord of the Rings films. So that is the story order within the world of the Lord of the Rings franchise. However, the way it was released and the way we all got to see it as fans, it did not happen in that order. The first order we saw it in was the first was the original Lord of the Rings films that was released back starting in 2001 to 2003. Then came the Hobbit films years later, starting in 2012. And then came the Rings of Power show that we're watching now. Season 1 came to us in 2022. And so that's the order of the release of how things happen there. Okay, let's now move on to Netflix, and we have a few shows here. First, I'm going to start off with The Night Agent Season 3, as Season 2 just ended earlier this year. So Season 3 has just finished wrapping production earlier this summer, earlier as in terms of July 2025, so last month. Per the show creator, Sean Ryan, on his social media, he said, quote, we hit them all. They've officially finished production. And when he says he hit them all, he's referring to the filming locations in terms of where they filmed season 3. And so where they filmed it was they went to New York, Washington, D.C., Turkey, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic. So those are the filming locations of season 3 of The Night Agent on Netflix. That's where we're going to see Peter and possibly Rose in those locations. And so now, in terms of what's happening now that they have finished production, and these are my thoughts, my opinions based on my observations as a slightly more surface level fan, what they're doing now in terms of the filming process, they are doing the sounding, the mixing, the scoring, the editing, possibly some built-in reshoots that they'll be doing. So all of that is happening right now that they finished filming with the majority of the actors as well as the crew. So that's what's going on. Also, what's going on is they're probably figuring out when they're going to release season 3 in terms of determining a release date, and then also putting together the season 3 trailer and teaser. So all of that is going on right now that they have finished filming season 3 of The Night Agent on Netflix. So now let's move on to another Netflix show, and that is The Witcher. Now, this is something I just wanted to talk about because I haven't really seen too much on it recently. The last time we saw The Witcher on Netflix was back in 2023. Henry Cavill was in the role of Geralt, but if you don't know, Henry Cavill is no longer in that role. He has left the world of The Witcher. The new person stepping into that role is Liam Hemsworth. He will be portraying the role of Geralt for season 4 and season 5. And Netflix announced that season 5 will be the final season of The Witcher. We also know that some time ago, another casting update was added, and that is Lawrence Fishburne. He will be in season 4 of The Witcher. He will be playing Regis, that's Regis, a worldwide barber surgeon with a mysterious past. And this comes per the Netflix Tandem site, an article. It could be releasing in terms of season 4 later this year in 2025 or early 2026. The only thing that we have gotten is per Netflix Tandem site, they released a short, quick video of a table read of all the cast and the creators, producers of Liam, which he was there with everyone else reading one scene as they were sitting around the table. It was very quick. It was a couple, almost maybe a minute or so of the table read. And that is the only information that we got so far. There's been no trailer release or anything. If you don't know what a table read is essentially all of the cast and some of the crew, as well as the creators, writers, they gather around the table, they have the script in front of them, and most likely that is the first time that the whole cast of the show is reading the script together in character for the first time before they go and start rehearsing on set with blocking, and then eventually in for full wardrobe of their specific characters. So that's what they were doing there in that short teaser of The Witcher. And so we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Maybe it will release later this year, maybe in November or December or early 2026, but nothing has been released yet about The Witcher. Looking forward to seeing it when it does come, whenever that happens. So that's just a show that I just wanted to talk about because there hasn't been much on it. And so that is that on The Witcher. Let's now move on to HBO Max, formerly Max. And there is one show I want to talk about, and that is coming from the world of Game of Thrones. And this show I'm talking about is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms from the world of Game of Thrones. And the synopsis is: a century before Game of Thrones, Sir Duncan the Tall and his squire Egg wandered through Westeros while the Targaryen dynasty ruled the Iron Throne, and dragons were still remembered. Great destinies and enemies await the incomparable friends. And that is the show synopsis per IMDb. Now, there has been some Twitter accounts, particularly one that I've seen a lot. They've put some things out. The at Westeros account coming from insider Daniel RPK. Now they have said reportedly that the Game of Thrones show I just mentioned, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, has already been renewed for a season 2 and a season 3. This Twitter account is also saying that the episodes will be 6 episodes in total, and the runtime's 30 to 35 minutes. Now, that is per the at Westeros Twitter account via at insider Daniel RPK. Now, I also went to the IMDb page of the A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, their page in terms of the show page. And as I saw, a lot of the main cast for the actors with their characters' names, also by them is the number of episodes on that page, which also says 6 for the majority of the main cast. And then some of them have 1 because they will just be in 1 episode. It looks to be that it is going to be only 6 episodes for this particular show. And the only official thing that we have received from HBO Max is that initially it was going to be coming out in 2025, but now it has been moved to 2026. And then back in 2024, there was a sizzle trailer, and it was coming to Max in 2024 and 2025. And that was just a bunch of HBO Max TV shows that were coming up in 2024 and 2025. At that point, we were still in 2024. And within that sizzle reel, it showed a 6-second clip of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I actually just rewatched it a couple minutes ago prior to recording this just to see. And I remember it wasn't very long, and I did time the video to see the timestamp. But yes, it was only 6 seconds, very quick dialogue, so not much in there. But that's the only footage that we have seen and a little bit of dialogue. But we'll have to wait until next year to see that show. But always exciting to have another Game of Thrones show to watch. And that's that with that show. And let's now move on to Disney Plus, and this is going to be the last show I'm going to talk about. And this show is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Of course, Percy Jackson and the Olympians season 2 will be premiering on Disney Plus on December 10th of this year. However, the update is that season 3 has already been renewed, and apparently they are already in production, or at least pre-production, starting to film season 3. There is a picture going around online on social media with the lead actor holding the clapper board, and it says Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but under the word Olympians, if you zoom in at the bottom, it says season 3. And this picture is going around, and some of the cast has released it as well on their social media platforms. looks like they're already working on season 3 reportedly. So that's exciting. I've enjoyed watching that show actually. So, and this is coming from someone that hasn't even seen the original movie those years ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing season 2. Glad looks like they're working on season 3. So we'll see how that goes. And that's it for the update. So this was a fairly quick here, and hope you enjoyed those updates. Again, thank you to the subscribers and the listeners. And if you're new here, subscribe for more. Of course, I'll be getting into some more movies soon in future episodes. And again, I have the new blog, the Silly Nerdy and Wordy.blogspot.com is where you can check it out. Blog number 2 is up, and this one is about the true story about Sarah Richter. The film is called Sarah's Oil. It's coming out November 7th. And this story is about a young African American girl in Oklahoma in the 1900s that discovers oil on her land, and she ultimately becomes one of the youngest African American millionaires. And it's inspired by a true story. So I wrote about that trailer on the blog, so you can check it out there and some more information there. I'll leave a link in the description, and follow me on Spotify and again on all major podcast platforms if you want to listen. And that is all I'm going to have for you today. So until next time, we will talk soon.